Welcome to this edition of Inside America's Boardrooms. I'm TK Kerstetter, the CEO of Boardroom Resources and the co-founder and editor-at-large of Corporate Board Member Magazine. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the show. We're going to be doing a special European edition that'll let us have the ability to talk to some European directors, and what a place that we're in. We're here in Lake Como in Italy, which is the site for Diligence Directors Experience, where we invite European directors to come and share their views on board governance and boardroom trends. My guest is Gavan, who's a board member with Swiss Re Ltd and also on the board of Mackenzie Financial Corporation. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you, TK.
So we're going to be talking about keys to a successful hostile proxy defense, okay? Yes. And fortunately or unfortunately, this is something that's not unique to either the U.S. or to European companies. It probably happens more in the U.S., but it's starting to happen more in European countries as well, and also in the U.K. So we've seen a significant increase, again, in the European countries. Traditionally, Europe countries haven't been as litigious as U.S. companies, but that's not going to stop the fact that activists are coming over. So is there any special idea why you think that the European countries are seeing more and more activity like this?
I think it's just the nature of global investment and looking for enhanced returns. Been in a low interest rate environment for a long time. Markets are dominated, becoming so index focused. To get that enhanced yield, you've got to agitate for some change. And so when companies are underperforming, it's an opportunity for investors to increase their returns.
So it's also an opportunity for activists to diversify geographically.
Absolutely. Well, most investors are diversifying their portfolios globally. So
why not?
Why not?
Yeah. So you were involved in a unique, as a board member, a unique activist campaign. Yes. It was hostile.
Yeah.
While it may be a little bit different than some situations, what did you learn from that, and what can others learn from your experience on being on the board end of a hostile takeover?
I would say no company is immune. This was a case of a mutual insurance company, which the governance and voting rights were held by the policyholders, or a group of the policyholders. And the activists still found a way to bring those voters together to organize a campaign, potentially for them to earn some fees as a result. And so being a unique form of organization didn't protect us. Things I learned from that, there's a number of things. One, being prepared, really critically assessing your company and your performance, and pushing forward quicker in terms of actions that you may be undertaking, but maybe at too slow a rate. Also, the relationship directly with stakeholders. Really having a pulse directly with the board and not through management. So that relationship with the voters, in this case, would have been helpful to indicate that there were some signs of unhappiness or discontent, and being able to identify those earlier. I think when I reflect back, the board detected that more so than management. And that's why that unfiltered, direct contact with your stakeholders is so important.
So it's not uncommon when you hear experts talk about this, that the boards and management should think like an activist. In other words, they should take a look at what are my weak points, and where can I improve so that I won't be as susceptible a target. So what's your experience with that? Have you ever done the exercise at any of your boards? And if not, what do you think of the concept? What should people be looking at?
I haven't done it actually as thinking as an activist, what it goes back to is all good governance. What are your term limits? How is your board being refreshed? Do you have good corporate governance practices? Do you have diversity on the board, diversity geographically, gender, different backgrounds, and do you have industry experience so you can actually assess the performance of the business? And that's good governance, and that's where it starts.
Yeah, so I'm sure in an activist situation, there is plenty of factors, okay, that they're going to go after. They're going to go after board composition, they're going to look for weak directors, they're going to look for any slip up that one might have. So in theory, by thinking like that, activists, you're just looking for what I call the soft belly of your organization.
Absolutely, and that's the role of the board, is to be constantly assessing the performance of the board, assessing the performance of your CEO, making sure you are operating at the right level, making the changes in the business and the structure to operate effectively.
And isn't, in theory, the board doesn't get caught up in the day-to-day. They have the ability to take a step back, okay, and look at the broader picture and take the time to ask pertinent questions to make sure that management is aware.
That's correct. And that's why you do need some industry expertise on the board to be able to effectively do that. And you can't have complacency. And by having refreshing of your board, and always introducing that new blood and the new thought to the process, and having the board culture to encourage that debate and dialogue and look at different perspectives. Well,
Karen, I want to thank you. I know this is tough duty being here in beautiful Lake Como, but your comments are spot on, and I appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Great. Thank you very much, TK.
And that will conclude this edition of Inside America's Boardrooms. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back again next week when we take another look at critical topics that'll help you be a better board member or committee member. So we'll see you then.